Hey, hey, hey. How is everyone? Welcome to Super Serial Showtime. As always, I'm your host, The Metal. Marsupial is going to be here. He just, apparently, according to the text he sent, shit took a wrong turn. I'll be here a few minutes late. So we're gonna hold over until he gets there. Normal intro. Get more people in here. Share the show with at least somebody else in here. It shows your appreciation. And if you really appreciate the show at any point in time, you can feel free to send a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitoriumlive. Let's see. I did have some stuff that I could talk about before he gets here, which hopefully won't take too long. Let us see. This is fine. So I have a list of basically every video game adaptation movie that is planned to be made or coming out. Most of these probably won't. At all. And even if a lot of these are successful, they'll probably be shit. So we're going to go through this list and we'll discuss which ones I think will or won't be shit. You guys in the audience can always weigh in as much as you want. I'll read your comics. The first one that I know is going to be god-awful, there's no way this could be good at all, is the Borderlands movie, which is set to release this year in August. That, I actually cannot remember half of the cast. I know Jack Black is playing Claptrap. Kevin Hart is supposed to be Roland, which seems like a lot of these just seem like big mismatches of roles. Except for the Jack Black part, like I could see him playing Claptrap. That's not really a problem at all. But we also have like Jamie Lee Curtis as Patricia Tannis. Like, Tannis doesn't strike me as that old, but whatever. I guess it doesn't really matter to any of this at all. I think it's gonna be shit. Even if they had a good cast, I think this movie's gonna be shit. And part of that is just because the direction Borderlands is gone. I think some of the game writers are involved in the script, from what I know, so that means it's going to be bad. And just everything else I've seen about it just looks awful. So, yeah. First one on the docket probably won't be a flop. I think its name will bring enough things in. The actors will bring enough people in to watch. It'll have I don't even think it'll have the full game humor. I think it'll be somewhere between internet meme and normie humor. So, I think it'll be bad, but it probably won't flop. It'll probably at least cut even, if not do a little bit more. Then we have Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is one that I don't think I will be interested in at all, because I haven't been interested in the other ones. At least 2 felt more like a Sonic the Hedgehog movie than the first one did, but it'll probably do well. The average consumer audience seems to like the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, so I expect it to do well. The Minecraft movie is supposed to come out in April of next year. That one, I don't know. Like, I haven't seen too much on it. It's Minecraft. It's extremely popular with people of many ages. The young millennial audience all the way down to Gen Alpha. I don't know if they have to do much to make that movie at least profit, if not do ridiculously well. It'll probably be Mimi. It could probably be on the level of the Emoji Movie and still probably do well enough. I can't promise it'll be good. I expect it to be the Lego Movie, honestly, but Minecraft. That is my entire expectations of this movie. It's the Lego Movie, but Minecraft. Yeah, I can go 50-50. I totally agree. But I don't think, even if it's bad, it's going to be one that at least makes a profit, just because of the name alone. That, and I think Jason Momoa and Jack Black are both supposed to be in it. Bendy and the Ink Machine. Yeah, the Emoji Movie was horrible. But I'm trying to use that as a low-end example. That as bad as the Emoji Movie is, Minecraft could be an Emoji Movie and still profit. Even if it's awful. But Bendy and the Ink Machine. That was a hot commodity for a minute and a half. There's still definitely a lot of people who like it. Do I think it would do well? I don't know. Honestly. Talk about how this one could cut either way. I think you'd have to work really hard to make this one do well. You can make a pretty easy horror film out of it, because it was a horror game. There's appeal to the name. But man, I don't know. To me, from a writing perspective, it feels like an uphill battle to make the movie good. But from a marketing perspective, I'm trying to think how hard it would be to sell this movie to people. Because it's going to be like FNAF. Like, people who already like it are going to go and watch it. Like, that, for sure. That's just going to happen. I don't know if Benny has a big enough audience. Is it live action or animated? Let me see if the description of it says. No, it does not mention whether it is live action or animated. I was assuming it would be something akin to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I think that would probably be the best way to do it. The problem is that getting the talent and budget to make it something like Who Framed Roger Rabbit is very questionable. Actually, in some ways it'd be closer to Cool World. Right. But I'm going to give this one a third of a chance of profiting. Less than half. I'm gonna say it's probably less than half. It definitely will not hit like the FNAF movie did. See, the Mario Brothers movie flopped in 1993. Yes, but Mario also was not as big of a property as it is now, and they only showed it in like limited theaters. Some people had to travel 100 miles just to watch the Super Mario Brothers movie. So even as critically panned as the Super Mario Brothers movie was, they weren't doing themselves any favor for trying to make that movie do well. And I get it. Why show it in theaters everywhere if hardly anybody knew who Mario was at the time? Comparatively to today. Like, today Mario is one of the hottest properties on the planet. Back in 93, it really wasn't. Hola. See, Comic Zone, I remember us talking about this one, which is the strangest property to adapt, because most people don't even know what Comic Zone is, and they're trying to make a movie after this. I've played it. I know a lot of people played it. Back in Sega back in the day, they did a port for the GBA of Comic Zone. It's a really hard beat 'em up to play because of all the weird comic mechanics. It's not straightforward. It's hard to figure out. The game is almost as much a puzzle as it was a beat 'em up. Would it work better as a movie? Probably. Does it have the appeal to pull people in? I doubt it. If I expect any movie on this list to flop, it is Comic Zone. And it's going to have to do a lot of comic-y things. Like, they're going to have to do some weird green screen stuff where they have, like, one environment and another, and they comic panel it, and they show, like, the person moving over the line between it if they actually want it to feel like the game. I don't know, but I expect this one to flop. I don't think enough people even know what Comic Zone is. Maybe they'll see a preview on it on, like, another Sega game, movie like Sonic, and might be interested in watching it. But it has absolutely no general audience appeal. It's gonna be a hard sell. What else we have? Days Gone. This one I could expect to actually do okay. In fact, watching people play Days Gone, I've never played it myself, but I have watched somebody play through most of it on couch in person with them. I actually think this has more of appeal as a live action movie or series than it does as a game. The game was pretty bad. To see. What could opinion did Warhammer? 40K? I like 40K. 40K is pretty cool. I I know they're supposed to be making an adaptation of 40K. I don't know if that's still going through. I hope it is. Henry Cavill's supposed to be leading it, not just the main actor, but he's supposed to be like producing and taking that almost series directorial role on it, even though most episodes will probably have their own directors. So that could be cool. I mean, he's a nerd. He'll probably make it right as long as they give him the ability to make it right, but I just haven't heard anything of it in a while. Yeah, having behind-the-scenes issues with Amazon on it, I wouldn't be surprised. It's Amazon. Right, that's why I was positive about it when I heard he was going to be leading it, but I was also skeptical that it was going to go well because he was going to have to work with Amazon. On paper, it sounded like a good decision because it seemed like they picked him up to run the 40K franchise because Witcher was going to do bad without him and he left because they weren't going to let him do. So you think he was do what they needed to do. So you think the only reason he would agree is because they would give him the power he needed to make the show well. But that's how things start. How things continue always kind of changes. Who knows? I definitely understand why he might be having behind-the-scenes issues. Hey, Marsupial, you're finally here.
Hey. Oh, sorry.
In your car?
Yes, I took a wrong turn. I went like 5 miles the wrong way.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, sorry about that.
I heard you say... I saw your text where it says, shit, I took a wrong turn. Like,
yeah.
How wrong of a turn could it be?
Sorry, the music is really loud.
Oh my god. You know what? Usually I remember to lower it. I've been kind of shouting, so maybe people have been able to hear me anyway. Let me lower this.
Yeah,
because
I can
usually
hear
I
you.
lower
It's just,
it when you come in, right?
Yeah.
And because you never came in, I forgot to actually lower it to the normal volume. Hopefully it wasn't too bad for everybody watching. It was pretty serene.
It was lovely music.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I don't know how that happened. Well, I do, but yeah, I'll explain it later. Unless you want to know now.
You can explain it, sure.
Oh, it's just Peach is going out of town for the week. She's going with a friend to a what do you call it? A Rolling Stones concert.
Oh, nice.
In California. So, obviously I was distracted because I was taking her home and I didn't, I was concentrating on talking to her as much as I could because I'm not going to see her for a week, or for like 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I was distracted and I just took a wrong turn and suddenly I was like, where the hell are we? I was like, damn it, where are we? So yeah, raced back to get on with you.
I love the Stones.
So what are we talking about? Yeah.
So what I was trying to do to fill the time was I started with our first topic. It's a long one that could take up most of the show. And it was 35 video game movies in the works. And I was just going to talk about which ones that might still come out, because a lot of these will probably get canceled. Let's be real, right?
Yeah, 35. Holy crap.
Yeah. And also predictions on whether it'll do well, and whether it'll actually be good or not, because those things don't always equal each other.
Yeah.
And to catch up, we only made it to 6, so you didn't actually miss too much.
Okay.
The first one was Borderlands, which my prediction was it'll probably do well enough just from the property name, the people who are in it, and everything. And the meme humor will probably be kind of halfway between the internet memes that the games usually have, and halfway between like normie audience humor, right? Because of the people in it. Yeah. So it probably won't even be as bad as the writing has gotten in the game so far. But I don't think it'll be good. Regardless, I think it'll do well enough, but it won't be good.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Borderlands, but I would think it wouldn't be too hard to make that decent. I don't know. Might be
I think average. It probably won't be a bad movie either. Like, I probably won't cringe at it the way playing Borderlands 3. I think it'll just be an average movie that does well.
Yeah. Like I was thinking, it might be as good as like the Warcraft movie,
Yeah, yeah.
which I thought was, yeah, it was all right,
And people were panning
not
it. It's like,
terrible.
oh, I can understand not liking it, but I wouldn't call it good or bad.
Yeah, I watched that again recently. I think it's on
Yeah.
Netflix or something, and I was like, oh, this movie isn't as bad as I remember it.
I might watch it.
It was all right.
Haven't seen it all the way through. I've seen like 70% of the movie.
Oh,
Which I've seen the climax.
well, it doesn't get any
which
better.
is my
But
biggest weight on whether I could say it. I don't think it's a good or bad, but I'm sure there might be some interesting scenes I might have missed.
you missed the first 30%, or the last 30?
No, I was in and out while somebody else was watching it, right? So I saw like 70% of it, but I missed some stuff here and there.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like my experience with the Batman recently. Somebody else was watching it.
Oh,
I was in the same area as them, so I was watching it while working and doing things, but I was also like getting up and doing other things at the time, so I missed some stuff.
yeah. I saw a little off topic, but go ahead.
I was gonna say I saw a larger percent of the Batman than Warcraft.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I was in the Walmart recently, and I noticed that the new Ghostbusters movie is out on DVD and Blu-ray, and I was wondering if that's going to be out on streaming. I guess I could pay for it, but I'm hoping it'll be out on some free streaming thing, or something I already paid for.
Completely forgot that it even happened, to be honest.
I know, right? It seemed like it's really fast that it's out on Blu-ray already.
Yeah. Like, from my recollection, I thought it was still coming out. It's like, oh, it already happened?
Apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm curious. I want to see it. I just didn't see it in the theater, and I don't think that I want to actually buy the Blu-ray. I'd just rather...
Yeah.
I hope it comes out on Netflix or HBO Max or something.
Hopefully Netflix specifically, just because that's one I already have. Let's see, Goodnight Spoon joins us too. He says, "I'm back. Are you done mocking my Ocarina of Time ineptitude?" Well, even though we are talking about something related to video games right now, we're not actually talking about video games because that's not this show. And also, I wouldn't actually mock somebody for Ocarina of Time ineptitude. I always found the game easy as a kid, but I was also good at video games as a kid. I knew a lot of people who struggled with it, and I probably know a lot of people who might struggle with it as an adult. It's forgiving in the fact that it's a game that has saves, and you could just learn each room and go back and do it. If you die, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But games were in general less forgiving back then, so I don't fault for somebody for struggling, like fighting 2 Staphos Knights at the same time, which is something you have to do in that game.
Yeah. Oh no, that reminded me of something I was watching the other day, but it's video game related. We can talk about it on Thursday. Yeah. I'll remember.
So then we have Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which I said I think is going to do well, and it will probably be a good movie. Not great, but a good movie. I won't like it though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because they are kind of on a downward trajectory. I like the first one a lot better than the second one, I think. Yeah.
I like the second one more than the first one.
I just didn't like that stupid wedding side story.
I agree with that for sure. But I don't really like either of them personally, so I probably only like the second one more because it feels more like a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, while the first one feels like Hop but with Sonic in it.
Yeah, at least in the second one, they had like that maze that they go through, and they had that was one with like snowboarding. And, it seemed like more like the game.
And this one, I think, is going to be even more into that, especially bringing like Shadow into it. So who knows? Yep. I think that one will just have the appeal of having Shadow in it. Like, I think it'll gross very well. I think kids will love it. I think it'll be good enough that parents who bring their kids to it will enjoy it. 90s kids will probably have some type of nostalgia for Sonic and still enjoy it anyway. I probably won't, though, even despite being somebody who grew up in the time that Sonic was out. I just don't particularly care for these movies.
Yeah.
Minecraft,
Well,
though,
yeah, I
I
guess we'll
probably
see.
also won't like, but I think that one's probably. I don't think Minecraft can do bad. I think it'd be bad, but I don't think
Minecraft.
it can do bad.
I mean, they kind of already made that into a movie. Like, isn't? Yeah, like they did like a what do they call it?
Like a
Like
Telltale
a
type
Telltale
game.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they just gonna rehash that, or are they is it brand new, like
I don't
original
know.
story?
So I was saying, I think it's going to be like the Lego movie, but Minecraft.
Yeah. So you think it'll be kind of meta, or because
Sort of.
like
Yeah, I think it'll be in
the-
the world. I think
Yeah.
it'll treat the world right. I don't think they're just gonna start injecting things like the Lego movie has everything from everywhere. But I think it'll probably
Yeah.
have that type of humor, but Minecraft.
right? Okay.
So I think
Yeah.
it could be as bad as the Emoji movie, but still gross decent enough to profit. Or it could be on the level of the Lego movie and be a phenomenon hit. It probably won't be
Yeah,
for
I
me
mean-
regardless, but I think it'll do well.
Frankly, I love the Lego movie. I think that was a great movie for me.
Yeah, yeah, and
Did you-
a lot of people love it. I'm not a super big fan of it. It's enjoyable enough. Like I can watch it. There's scenes that I think are hilarious, but overall, it's not for me. I liked Lego Batman a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't like that one as much, but
Mm.
I only
think I
seen
like
it
that one.
once.
Because it made fun of modern Batman and how he's been for like decades in all the same ways that I do.
Yeah.
So it kind of shared a lot of the same humor with me.
Yeah, there's something about that Lego the city, like at the beginning when he's like taking a shower and the soap gets in his eye. It's like it's like hilarious to me.
Yeah, and I get why people like it. Like I would never, even though it's not
Yeah.
for me. That's all I'll say about it is that it's not for me. I will never call the Lego Movie a bad movie. It is great.
Yeah.
Even rating it, I would probably give it no less than a 7.5 out of 10 on like my scale. It's just a 7.5 out of 10 to an 8. That's not for me.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends on who's doing the Minecraft movie because like
Yeah.
if it, I didn't see the whole, or I didn't play the whole thing, but from what I played of the Telltale game, I thought it was great. I mean, I think I kind of like you. I don't think it was really for me, but I don't think I'm the target audience.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really cute and it seemed, exciting and well made.
I don't even think I'm the target audience, right? Even having over a decade between us, right? Because
Yeah.
I was still an okay age, I think, for Minecraft when it came out, because it came out like right as I was graduating high school. But I also just never was that into Minecraft, and they know that, so they're not actually trying to appeal to even like millennials with the Minecraft stuff in Telltale. They're trying to appeal to Zoomers who were at that developmental age when Minecraft came out, and that is like the bulk of the audience is, young Zoomers, old alpha. So that's who they're appealing with that humor, and that's another reason why I think it's going to be like the Lego Movie. Is I think they're specifically trying to appeal to the Zoomer humor.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was too. I was too old when Minecraft came out because I was so used to video games that kind of
Lead you
did
on.
a lot of the things. Yeah, that had its own story. I wasn't used to sort of this sandbox thing where you just kind of had to make your own fun. I was just like, what is this game? Like, it's so boring. There's nothing to do. And everyone just loved it. And I was just like, I don't get it. I don't understand. And
Yes, Fizzozo, you are the
know.
exact age demographic that they'd be aiming for.
yeah, I mean, I got it later on, and I played it quite a bit. But yeah, when it first came out, I was like, this is confusing. What you just do? Like, just mine and craft? That's it? Like, what?
It's
Where's
in
the
name.
story? Where's the
I
where's the
played it
beginning,
with
middle,
some
and
friends.
end?
Like I owned it really early, and I just kind of like sat there and I played on some servers with some friends. I would play for a little bit, and every single time I'd get bored eventually, unless I could entertain myself by being a complete deviant and screwing over the plans of whoever I was playing with, which is also why I would eventually fall out anyway, because it's like You can only have so much fun doing that before you start to feel guilty because you have nothing else to do but fuck with people. And you're like, I want them to have fun too. So it's like, it's not for me.
Yeah, my son, who's 18, has been playing it since he was 6.
Yeah,
and
that
so
makes sense.
it's like perfect for him. I mean, he was obsessed with it for a while. It actually got him into programming because I ended up teaching him Java so he could do mods for Minecraft.
Yeah. So it's like, I think it'll do great, no matter what. I think even if it is a shitty movie, it'll profit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. The other side of that, though, is something that was popular enough that you would even see its merchandise in stores. Like, I've seen plushie toys and stuff for it in the Walmart toy aisles. But I think it's going to be an uphill battle with this one to even market it and get enough people in. And also to make it a good movie, and it's Bendy and the Ink Machine. The plot's there already in the games. Like, you could make a horror film with it. But
I want to see that.
Yeah, I'm more interested in that than the previous one. But it could be so easy to fuck up. Yeah. And I don't even think it has the FNAF appeal. Like, it's got a big enough audience, but like driving people to see it is gonna be rough.
Yeah.
If you want to hear a funny streaming, it'll be fine, but that's gonna probably be it.
Yeah. You want to hear a funny story about that?
Yes.
So that was made. By the way, I'm parking, so I'm gonna get to my computer in a second. So that was made by the Meatly, who had an online comic strip, right? Mm-hmm. You know who I'm talking about?
I vaguely know the story of it. I don't know the precise details.
Yeah, well, so this guy had a comic strip. He called himself the Meatly. Yeah, like meat, like beef or something. And so he started out really small, and when he first started to do merchandise, I don't know what it was. I guess I was just a big fan of his comic, and Peach was a big fan. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember if I got her one of his shirts or not, but at one point he contacted him about his merchandise, and I don't remember exactly how it went. I'll have to ask her. I'm sure she remembers. But basically, she was one of his first models. That basically she modeled his clothes like on his website.
That's pretty cool.
So it's like, I know, and of course at the time it was like, it's no big deal. It's like, some unknown guy. Very few people had seen his comic before, and then I was like, oh, that's really cool. You're on his website as his shirt model or whatever. And then and they chatted every once in a while, because she was basically working.
Did we lose Marsupial? He was in the middle of telling a very interesting story, and then it just cut for me. Well, let me look at the chat for a moment, see if I missed anything. See, we had questions of about Modern Warfare 3 and Messi. None of that stuff is really appropriate for this show, but still, thank you for coming and asking questions.
Can you hear me?
There you are. I was just going backwards over the chat. You were talking about like the modeling and stuff, and how you were still chatting, and then it cut.
Oh, sorry about that. It must have been when it switched over to my home Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But that was pretty much the end of my story. Is that he obviously he decided to make a video game, and then it just kind of randomly exploded and was like incredibly popular. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy who we kind of know, is like a big old game developer now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's definitely super popular. Right, like kids love it. It's got merchandise in stores. I'm just like looking at like ear to the ground how popular it is. I think you have to keep the budget low, and it's probably going to have to at least
Yeah.
start with limited screening, and then if you can pull more people in, maybe do an additional run, a wider screening, because I think it is popular but sub FNAF level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say that's accurate. I'll have to go and see if I can find some of those pics of her in the Meatly.
Mhm.
See if he remembers her. I'm sure he does.
The next one, and this one, this is not even an uphill battle. I have no idea how they're actually going to market this to people. We've talked about this one before, and it's Comic Zone. And like, I've played Comic Zone.
Like that video game that looks like a comic book.
The
right?
beat 'em up where you go between the panels and sometimes even trying to figure out what it's almost like a puzzle to get even from panel to panel in some of them. And the game is notorious in video game circles, especially for like Genesis players. And it came back on Game Boy Advance, but not enough people know. Yes, I know you've played Comic Zone, Fizz, but not enough people know who Comic Zone is, especially like the general audience. Will have no idea. You could probably market it on Sonic's film, like in the trailers and stuff. Maybe it will grab some people, but I just don't think. Even the name Comics Zone, it sounds 90s edgy. There's the X in it, which I mean that's when it came out and that's what they were trying to do. But just seeing that on a poster in the movie theater, it sounds bland. It sounds like a parody of a movie. It doesn't actually sound like a title of a movie, like something you'd see in the background.
I can't even imagine how they're gonna make that into a movie.
I know.
Like,
This
is that
is way worse.
slated to come out anytime soon? I imagine
Does
that
not have
would
a
be one
date.
that.
If anything gets canceled, I think this one is going to be.
Yeah, I think so. I can't even imagine how that would work.
Then we had Days Gone, which
Mm-hmm.
I actually think will work better as a movie than it does as a game.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those games that plays out like a movie. So.
At times. I mean, at least
Makes sense.
there is a lot of active gameplay to it. Like, there's dealing with the horde that's constantly moving around and all that. I watched a guy play it. While I was watching him play it, I was like, yeah, this game is not for me. Go have fun with it, but it's definitely not for me. But
Yeah.
with the main characters and a lot of the vibes in it, I think it works better as a movie than a game. I might actually watch it as a movie.
Okay.
And that's where you came in. We made it to Days Gone, so we only made it to 6.
Oh, you started over. Okay.
Yeah, I went backwards to catch you up real quick.
Okay.
We spent
Oh, thanks.
less time catching you up than I spent going through it, so... We probably won't finish this list. It might be the only thing we talk about, but hey, you know what? It'll fill a show. Next one is Death Stranding, which also will probably work better as a movie than it does as a game.
Yeah. I mean, that was like a walking simulator, right? Seriously.
Yeah. For the most part, delivery boy simulator. There's combat in it. There's a boss fight that takes like 2 weeks for you to fight. The big flying whale thing. But Hideo Kojima.
Seen that part.
Yeah, Hideo Kojima is a failed filmmaker. That became video game. That's basically he wanted to be a filmmaker and he got it. I wouldn't say he's a failed filmmaker. He just never got into the industry. He ended up in video games instead. So he brought all the stuff he wanted to do as a filmmaker, all that artsy stuff, into video games. Sometimes it worked when he had somebody who could rein him in, and a lot of times, sometimes it didn't work.
Well, we'll see if this one works. I imagine it will be made.
Yeah, and it does have that normie audience appeal. So I imagine, as long as they don't go over budget, which it's Kojima, they'll probably go over budget. Yeah, but as long as they don't, I think enough people would be interested that it could make its money back and probably profit.
Yeah. All right.
Now this one just don't make no sense. Dead by Daylight. I don't even know what you do with that for a movie.
I mean, are they going to have like all of their? Are they just going to use the original characters? 'Cause, like they have all these IP, characters that they were allowed to use for a while.
But it'd probably have to just be their originals. And then it's like, how do you... You'd have to have more than one, right? You don't just want to pick a single, like, bad guy. I could see it possibly... And looking at the person who's making it, I'm not sure if it can go that direction. Because it's being done by James Wan, who did The Conjuring and Insidious. Oh, he's being produced. I actually don't know who's directing it. But... when somebody like that produces it, you imagine it's probably going to fall into their voice a bit, or like the stuff that they end up making. If they go Cabin in the Woods, I could actually see it being an entertaining movie.
Yeah. Kind of like a parody horror.
Yeah, but if they actually go full... Like, Insidious had some funny stuff in it, the first one. Some, like, light humor that didn't detract from the horror of the situation. Like... Like the Tiny Tim playing is kind of like a joke, but it adds to the horror without like detracting from it or anything. I just don't know if something produced by James Wan will be able to do this well. That's what I'm trying to think about.
Yeah.
But Cabin in the Woods style, you could even have multiple bad guys in it and make it work. So I think if they kind of go in that direction, maybe they could come up with a good plot. If they go in the direction of like The Conjuring, I think it's going to be shit.
Okay. Let me switch to my computer. That's all right. I'll be right back.
He'll be back. Yeah, but what I was going to say to him, it's Blumhouse. So the budget, well, they've been actually increasing the budget a lot lately at Blumhouse. It'll probably be low enough that they might be able to make something off of it. I think it's a crapshoot with Blumhouse, because they used to be good at making low-budget horror films, but ever since their stuff started getting popular, they've been throwing more and more money at it. If they make it like an old Blumhouse film, where the budget's low enough, if maybe they could just get enough people in to make a profit. But if they make it like some of the stuff they made recently, I don't know if they could draw enough people in to make it successful.
Are you still talking about Dead by Daylight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been very popular on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. But then we have to remove ourselves from Twitch, right? We have to what is the general audience popularity, right? And I don't know how I don't know if feels about Dead by Daylight.
I would imagine they just see it as just a horror movie and not necessarily make the connection that it's a video game.
Yeah, probably. Now this one, I also think can't be good. It should be good, but in the modern era, especially with the person who owns the property, I don't think it can be good. And Duke Nukem was announced back in 2022, and it's still slated that it's supposed to be being made. Duke Nukem is owned by Gearbox, so the same people own Borderlands. Randy Pitchford hates Duke Nukem. Surprised he's even agreed to license the movie out. He even said if it was up to him, Duke Nukem will never get another game. Right. And I don't know, just modern.
Is he the director?
Audiences. No, but he's the owner, the president of Gearbox, so he has control over licensing and stuff. So it's Fizz says probably gonna suck considering modern politics. That's my thing. It's like Duke Nukem, license owned by Gearbox, who's all about the modern audience, right? The quote.
Why does he own it if he hates it?
Because they've owned it for a long time, right? Before the shifting, right? Because they've always. He's like one of those. He's in Texas, but he's like one of those California mentality type people where they were okay with this stuff back in the day, but as things change, they also change their mentality with it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't see a good Duke Nukem. Well, I mean, you can't see a good anything for modern audiences, but especially Duke Nukem can't be good for that fictional audience that doesn't exist.
Because it had some pretty
raunchy
edgy humor, right?
edgy and raunchy. Like I would even go further than just saying edgy. The last one was Duke Nukem Forever, I think was the name of it. The one that took forever to come out, and
right.
felt like it was already 10 years old by the time people played it for the first time. They had a huge alien boss that had like 3 tits flopping around or whatever, like as a Total Recall reference, and it's like that's Duke Nukem, you know. I also like John Cena's gonna play Duke, which actually build wise is not the worst person you could cast. He actually kind of looks like Duke. I don't know if he can do the voice. Actually, if you ask John St. John, who I'm friends with, nobody but him can do the voice, or at least he hasn't met anybody, because they draw it out and they make it real slow. But Duke doesn't talk slow at all, just to try to get the mannerisms right. So it's like, I don't think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be awful.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I really don't understand why they don't just sell the IP to somebody who would actually care.
I don't know if they're allowed to. Right. I mean, maybe during the transition they could have, right? Since Gearbox used to be owned by 2K Entertainment, and then they were sold to Embracer, but they were sold from one thing that holds on to all their IPs forever to another thing that is now trying to hold on to IPs forever. So I don't know. Like, technically, I don't even think he has final say anymore. That might be why they're actually making the Duke Nukem movie, is Embracer had already purchased them by 2022. It might have been out of his control, and somebody's like, we're making a Duke Nukem movie.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were owned by Embracer. But Embracer's like closing studios and stuff now.
They were trying to even sell Gearbox. So I think whether they actually keep them, because nobody would take their offer, whether they keep them will probably depend on how well the Borderlands movie does.
Okay.
But that also might be why Randy was like, if it was up to me, he would never get another game again. He's like, well, you're owned by somebody, so it may ultimately not be up to you.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Yeah. It was Firewatch is the one after that, which is a game I've never even heard of before now.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah. It's a adventure game, solitary adventure game. So I guess like one of those. When I hear solitary adventure game, to me I hear walking simulator.
No, maybe I haven't seen it. I don't know what this is. Is it made by Campo Santo? What is that?
That's what it says. It's a Campo Santo.
Genres walking simulator.
Yeah, like if you say solitary
it's a
adventure
real
game,
genre.
Story focused solitary adventure game, that literally just screams walking simulator to me.
Huh. The company's acquired. Oh, it's owned by Valve.
Okay. We have no details on it whatsoever. It's just a project in the works. That's another one that like I expect will probably be canceled.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this game came out years ago. Years and years. But it is out on Switch. Interesting.
I'm not a big fan of most walking simulators, you know, like not everything can be the Stanley Parable.
Like I've seen the logo before, but I don't think I've ever seen the game. It's interesting. Weird.
Yeah. Then we have the FNAF sequels, which I imagine will probably do the same as the first one. I don't even... Maybe they'll do a little bit better, just because people have had time to watch it on streaming, so maybe it'll pick up a little bit of the audience. But I think it'll be marginally better if it does better. It'll probably just be mostly the same audience that went to go see it the first time. It could also do marginally worse, but I think it's going to be within the margins of the first movie when they put out a sequel.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Did the first one not do well?
It did well enough. The budget was low enough. Like, it profited. It wasn't like some spectacular hit. It didn't reach like Mario movie numbers or anything like people were saying. But I think proportionately, for its budget, it actually made more money than Mario did. So, like, they succeeded by keeping the budget really low. But I think it's probably going to be within the margins of the first one. I don't think it being on streaming and more people like, I'll check it out or whatever, is going to pick up that much more people to go and see it in theaters the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on the quality of it, because, like, you know, it could pick up a bigger audience if they do a better job. I kind of wish it would have been more scary.
Yeah.
It just wasn't.
Less backstory.
If you could, do more of an actual horror movie where people get dismembered and stuff, you know?
You know, they actually might be able to keep the budget even lower for the sequel, because depending on if they're going straight into basically the story of FNAF 2 or whatever, a lot of that stuff was reused. Like, it was the same mascots and everything, and they were practical effects. Like, the Jim Henson Monster Company, Creature Shop or whatever it's called, ended up making that stuff. So they're physical things they still have. It's like they don't have to budget more stuff to be made, right? So you can actually probably save on some of the budget. If they keep the same audience, maybe with slight pickup, proportionately it'll probably actually make more money than the first one did.
Yeah. It could.
Yeah, it's possible.
But there was some weird, I don't know, that first one, just too much, like
That's why I
the
also
same
think, like, you
dream
could
over
lose
and
some
over
of it
again.
too, right? Like, I think the FNAF audience, like the people who played the games that went to go see it, probably that the way it was done didn't affect them. But a lot of people who went to go see a horror movie, you might actually lose some from just the way the movie was. So my gut instinct is that it's going to even out between people who were disappointed that they didn't get a horror movie leaving, and some people who watched it on streaming for the first time. Like, it's probably just going to even out to about the same number of people.
Yeah.
We have
I guess we'll see.
Ghost of Tsushima. Which,
Player's Choice Game of the Year.
yeah, massively popular. Tsushima was talked about for, I think, even a year after that. So it still has some hype, right? It's been, I think it's been actually almost a year since it got most of its awards. So, but
I don't
obviously
actually
not the Game awards, but like some of the stuff from the summer, because when it came out. So I don't know. It depends how big the budget is. That's the big problem.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it really. Is it kind of like a Souls-like game?
Yeah, you could kind of put it in that general category, but I wouldn't call it a Souls-like. It's definitely an action-adventure game, for sure. I would say it's faster.
Is it more like Devil May Cry?
No, it's like in between. Like, I would even say, because Sekiro is kind of put in that Souls-like game, I would probably put it closer to Sekiro, though, with like the speed and everything and what you do. But it is like an action-adventure game. There's some stealth aspects to it, too, like sneak attack kills and everything. And
I picked up Elden Ring again just the other day, and it is really slow. It's like, gosh, that can't get. It's like moving a tank around.
Yeah.
It's
like going back and playing Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Compared to like Breath of the Wild, yeah.
Yeah.
Really
apparently, it's going to be directed by the John Wick director, Chad Stahelski. So, I mean, if they make it like a feudal Japan, is it feudal or is it like, I think it's Meiji period, but if they make it period accurate Japan John Wick with katana and bows and arrows, that could be fun. Like, I like John Wick. I'll watch an epic samurai action movie.
Yeah.
He's also apparently the same guy that's doing the Highlander reboot with Henry Cavill, which I was a little hesitant at first. I was like, but John Wick director with Henry Cavill playing the Highlander, I could see it being okay. I might give that a try.
Is Henry Cavill finally going to get something that
lets him use his
doesn't
natural
suck?
accent? Oh.
or that. It doesn't like suddenly turn like ultra woke right in the middle of the project.
I don't know. Although he has been
so bad for him every time he
natural accent before, but yeah, everything just keeps breaking on. Like we were talking about Warhammer earlier, just because somebody came in and brought it up, asked what the opinion on Warhammer was, and I mean I like 40K. It's not really the show to talk about 40K itself, but I mean, hey, Henry Cavill's supposed to be leading a series, and you know, it looked promising because it looked like Amazon picked him up because of what happened with The Witcher. So you think like they're going to let him do what he want to do. But now we're hearing behind the scenes stuff that he's having negotiation issues with Amazon.
Yeah. Well, it seems like Amazon seemed to say something along, you know, you're going to have to, you know, woke this up
a
little if you're going to, you know, if we're going to pick this up.
And it's like, that's one franchise you can't do anything like that to. It is one of the gruelest, or like the brutalist franchises there is.
Yeah. That's why conservatives love it.
Yeah. It shows the harshness of reality. But in like an extra reality type way. It's the fantasy of reality.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine they did the whole female space marines thing, or what are they called? Well, whatever. The female characters that they added to whatever one of the factions.
Oh.
Probably because Amazon is going to say, well, we have to have a female lead or something
the
along those lines. Custodes.
But they already had badass female characters. I love the Sisters of Battle. They're basically just Space Valkyries. They're cool. They've been cool for a long time. Why do we need female Space Marines when we have the freaking Sisters of Battle?
Not good enough. We need female everything.
Well, something that might be more promising, if it's animated, and I don't know if it will though. That's actually that's what makes it skeptical for me. Gravity Rush. I like Gravity Rush. I think it's a great game. But it even says, unlike the anime-inspired game, this version of Gravity Rush appears to be taking a more realistic approach.
Okay.
And it's like, no. People, the aesthetic of Gravity Rush was one of the biggest appeals to the game. In fact, if you were to make a Gravity Rush movie, you'd actually kind of want to make it look like a Studio Ghibli movie. So,
yeah, I would think so. Just the aesthetic of it, yeah.
But it's fun. It's a fun like platformer that uses like gravity as a mechanic. The action is very fast paced, but it's more like a reaction game than anyway, right? Like you're using the mechanics and the platforming to basically solve the puzzle that is the world. Very fun game.
Interesting. I guess I've never seen gameplay of this when I'm looking at a playthrough that.
Oh
yeah, it's kind of like
one of my top recommended games for the system.
Yeah, it looks almost like what is it called? Is it Mirror's Edge? Is that the?
That's the first-person parkour game.
Yeah. It looks like Mirror's Edge meets Super Mario Galaxy.
Okay. When you first said
Almost.
Mirror's Edge, I'm like, I don't see where you're going. But when you added the meets Super Mario, okay, it's like I can see that. Yeah.
It's kind of like parkour, but you also kind of have this gravity mechanic where you get sucked to different.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've watched all of 60
character
seconds.
design. Too, that it's like if you're trying to take her out of that stylistic look, you're doing a disservice to the marketing of this.
Yeah, there's just this is the only character. Like this is the main character. This girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while. I think her name is Kat. But I mean, like it said, it was like 2012, so it's been a long time since
she
I
has
played the game.
She has a little cat sidekick.
She was also in the PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Oh, really?
Yeah. After that, we have that is Gravity Rush. Iron Lung, which is the Markiplier movie based off of the indie game, which I think he's keeping the budget
Is that a submarine?
very low on that one.
Is that a submarine movie? Am I thinking of something else?
Yes, that's the one where he's like under the water, and it's supposed to be this like very solitary hyper claustrophobia. What's that one? The Fear of the Deep is in there too. Fear of the Unknown. Like it's playing on a lot of these very deep fears. And Markiplier is, from what I know, the only actor in the entire movie.
Wow.
Like there might be people like sound effects and stuff like that. I don't know. There might actually be other actors. Like they might show him like talking to people before going down. I haven't seen. They haven't released a cast list or anything. You assume he's probably going to have like a short bit of day life before going in. But as far as I know, Markiplier is the only actor. And it's going to basically have everything that's in the game. He's going to try to make it as true to the game as possible. Because the budget's low. Like, they're doing their best to keep the budget low. Because, honestly, he even knows low-budget horror movies are the best horror movies. Like, it makes the horror movie better when you keep the budget low. I think it'll make a profit. Only because it'll be a lot of Markiplier fans that are going to see it. And he's got a huge fan base. Like, millions of subscribers and stuff. I think enough people will go that it'll profit. Do I think it'll be a smash hit? Hell no. But I think it'll do well. For its budget. Yeah. And I'll probably end up watching it. I like Markiplier. He's actually a good actor. I like his sketches and his more acting things that he does more than his gameplay videos. That I've been watching it for a long time. So, yeah, I mean, it'll do.
Yeah.
Just Cause. If it's basically a Fast and Furious movie with people using grappling hooks, jetpacks, and rocket launchers, it can do well.
It's almost where Fast and Furious movies are going these days.
Yeah, that's why I'm using that as the examples. Like, just that level of destruction and mayhem and stuff. It can. My issue is, given, like, who owns Just Cause and what they're going to be doing with everything. Oh, Jason Momoa is going to be in it. Okay. I think they're going to go way over what the budget should be. Right? Because they're going to try to basically turn it into a Michael Bay movie. Right? It's gonna be way too big. Right. I don't think Just Cause as a game, as well as it sells, has the appeal to make up the budget that they will end up throwing in there. Let's see. Goodnight Spoon says Crackdown would be a more interesting movie adaptation. More interesting? Yes, I agree. God, Crackdown is such a meme of a game. I don't think it would do very well, to be honest, but more interesting for sure.
Yeah. All right, I need to turn off my camera for a second.
Very popular game. Very, very popular one. I'm hesitant to say that I think this movie has the possibility to do good, but I've seen some movies that I think shouldn't do good. Just Dance is on the list.
What?
And I'm like, that sounds ridiculous.
Sounds like...
Why would you make that? And then I think, oh, but movies like Pitch Perfect and Sing do really, really well, so why wouldn't Just Dance do well? It's just going to be a jukebox musical.
Yeah. Right? It's like, they could, there's no story to Just Dance. They can make that be anything. It can just be...
what's it called? Step Up, or like some movie like that, you know?
Yeah. Like, I'm betting they probably already have a movie, and they're just slapping Just Dance on it to give it some name recognition.
Yeah.
Like, that could be anything.
Crackdown. Goodnight Spoon says it would be terrible, but a 2-hour film about Super Jump collecting orbs sounds better than Just Cause, yeah. And Fizchoso says it's going to be Footloose. Listen, if they made Just Dance around like a similar concept of Footloose, I would probably enjoy it more than watching something that's like Step Up or Pitch Perfect.
Although I love Pitch Perfect. I will say. The original movie was really good.
I watched Pitch Perfect 3 because my buddy Duggernot is obsessed with Anna Kendrick and watches like everything that she's in. I don't blame him. She's great. But I was at the store when he saw with him, like we were hanging out, when he saw the box for it, so he had to buy it, and we went back to his place, and everybody over there, like his family and stuff, watched it.
Yeah.
When I saw the box cover, I might even still have this picture somewhere. If not, I know it's on my Facebook at the very least.
Oops.
The Pitch Perfect 3 cover looked a lot like the Super Mario Brothers 3 cartridge art. Right, with like the yellow background, the angle that the words were put. It wasn't the right font or anything, right? But the angle that the title was put, the color of it too was only just barely not the right blue. So I couldn't help myself. I was like on autopilot after that. I opened up my laptop, pulled out Photoshop, and I corrected the title into the right font to make it look like the Super Mario Brothers 3 title. Slightly corrected the color of the title and the background to be the exact yellow and blue, and then changed the colors of everybody's outfits to be Mario's like red and blue. And I have a parody version of the box art for Pitch Perfect that is just Super Mario Brothers 3. And it's Pitch Perfect 3 too. Like I had to have been intentional that it was the third one and it looked that close. I think somebody at the office decided to do that.
That's amazing. Well, I have to beg to differ. So I imagine that they went downhill. I never saw the second or third one, but I have seen the first one many times, like several times. And I love that movie. It's great. I love the scene where
see if I can find it.
I love the scene where they're watching the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
He's like, I need to give you a movie education, a moviecation.
Dude, I have that experience all the time talking to people. You're like, what? You've never seen this? It's a timeless classic.
Exactly, right? And then she incorporates the music into the last song, like, because she kept like, you know, she had him firmly in the friend zone, and then at the end she puts that music in to show him that she loves him.
Yeah.
So cute.
I don't dislike the movies. I don't think they're great though. That's my thing. It's like I think they are middle of the road.
Well, I imagine 2 and
that
3
are just like super normie popular.
Yeah. I love Fat Amy.
When did I make this? Do I even have it on my Facebook? I was just trying to see if I still have this image. I will find it. I know it's not on my computer.
But for the longest time, I was using the term "excuse me."
Excuse me, yeah.
I guess I just like the music mostly. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
Good Night Spoon, but
You're
I was a
like
fan
you
of
Don't
the
apologize,
first,
man.
only the original Pitch Perfect.
Maybe I uploaded it to Twitter. Fuck. It's harder to dig through your Twitter images. Especially when I upload way more images. Because Twitter, anything that you, even as like a reply sometimes, shows up in your media.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like a GIF that you responded to somebody. But yeah, I don't think they're horrible. Like same with my buddy Duggar. It's one of those movies I wouldn't insult somebody for liking them. I think they're just middle of the road, enjoyable. I understand why they did well in the theater. I think personally, I'm not a fan of jukebox musicals. I prefer musicals where things were written originally for it. Sing a song without cups.
Yeah. What? Sing a song from the movie?
Yeah, it says prove it. Sing a song without cups.
That I'm gonna sing.
It's up to you. You don't have to be goaded by him.
That Magic Man song comes to mind. It puts the magic in me every time I can't remember the words.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's move on to the next movie. This one is the one that you and I are probably looking forward to the most, but also the one that we know could go horribly wrong. And that's the Legend of Zelda live-action adaptation.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, that is Raven in my pouch. Yes, of course. Hail Raven.
I think as long as it doesn't go horribly wrong, a Legend of Zelda movie has to do good, just because of how many people know the Legend of Zelda is, right? And also, I mean, look at how good the Mario movie did on popularity. Is Zelda as popular as Mario? No. But it's still in like one of the top 50 grossing video game franchises of all time. So I imagine it does well.
Top 10.
Is it top 10? I know it's at least top 20. I think some other stuff have definitely beaten it out. I can safely say top 50. I think it's top 20, 25. It used to be top 10, but there's so many things, like Minecraft is up there, and it's barely a franchise, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as they don't like fuck it up. They picked a director who has experience with having youthful people running through mazes and dungeons, so like I think I
can't imagine that I'm gonna like the actor.
Well,
that they get for Link.
We have no idea who the actor is going to be. Hopefully, they pick a youthful blonde guy, right? Like we actually want him to kind of look like Link. But on the casting call for it, because the casting call got leaked, it did say you have to be okay with not having lines. That doesn't mean Link won't ever talk, but it's setting the expectation up. Like if somebody who never takes their mask off normally, you have to be okay with not taking your mask off. It's that type of situation. Don't audition if you expect to have a lot of lines. That helped a lot for selling the movie to me already.
Yeah, they need a very convincing, yeah!
Yeah, very.
A high-pitched.
Claudia! Yeah! I love the spin attack one. The spin attack sound that he makes in Ocarina of Time is the best. Yeah! But he's like, hang on, let's not derail. Let's talk about the Zelda movie, and if it's going to help me beat Ocarina of Time, it will not.
Yeah. In terms of units sold, it is the 15th.
15th, okay. Like I said, I knew it was probably still in top 20, but...
It's lower than I thought.
Yeah.
It's lower than Resident Evil and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
So, let's see. Assassin's Creed, in the shorter time it's been around, I think has actually pumped out more games than Zelda has. Zelda has a lot of games, but even when we compare it to, like, franchises, there aren't a lot. It's just been around for a long enough time that they've trickled out enough games over time.
Yeah.
It's not like we look at Mario and, like, how many franchises even have as many games as Mario?
Mario is number one.
Yeah.
Units sold. Like, by a lot. Like, double the number 2. Which is Tetris.
Yeah. Like, the only reason Pokemon does better than everything is because of it's a cross-media franchise. Its merchandise sells more than, like, literally anything else.
Yeah, Pokemon's just barely number 3.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Is this before or after Animal Crossing? I'm still looking for this, by the way, while we're talking. I will find this. If it wasn't on Facebook, it has to be my Twitter somewhere. It's just the pain.
You know, I still haven't watched the Animal Crossing movie. I meant to watch that.
Yeah,
Wasn't there an Animal Crossing?
there
movie?
was. Back in the day,
Animated?
we watched it in the Vomitorium server, and you didn't
And it's
show up.
been. Sorry, but it's been translated, right? Or is it?
No, so the thing is, it's subbed only. There's never been a dub for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could watch it. Yeah,
Wait.
I don't know. I can't picture a good Link live action. Like
I found it.
You know, I can't picture it.
So where's I'm gonna bring up my screen on
Unless he's Japanese, and if they found a Japanese actor, maybe.
do I want to I'll bring it in Discord. It'll lower like stall the encoding some, but I'll bring it so you can see it live instead of having to look over at YouTube or whatever. But I found what I was talking about.
Oh, either one. I don't care.
Yeah, here we go. And let me change the filter so everybody can see it, right? So this is the original cover for the movie,
Mm-hmm.
which you could see why like immediately the cartridge art for Super Mario Brothers 3 stood out to me. Looking at this, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't know, sometimes it just happens because having access to Photoshop is
Oh my gosh, that is really close.
like it's almost
The
like a
colors.
drug having access to Photoshop, right? So like
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself, and I photo edited it, which is it's a much better cover. When was this? This was back in 2018. Yeah, I'm gonna copy this and post it in our
It's so close.
Discord. Yeah. In fact, because we talked about it today, I'm gonna go
Right.
retweet it. Here we go. Oh yeah, it's so
Yeah, 'cause, like,
close.
I'll have to retweet that and like include the Super Mario.
context.
'Cause I don't know if everyone would get it.
Yeah, because I didn't actually put the Super Mario Brothers 3 art in there. I only put the actual cover.
Yeah.
But yeah. This is why you can't let somebody like me have access to Photoshop. I don't do this very often, but sometimes it's like a spirit just possesses me and I have to. Like I was watching one of my buddies stream. Tom the Iron Man was streaming Jet Force Gemini. And he made a comment about like Doge, right? So it's like the only Doge meme I have at all. Which I don't know how it became Doge. When I read it, I'm like, oh, let me take that off too. They don't need to keep seeing this. It's just going to bother our encoding the whole time. Stop it. Change the filters back. I don't know how it became Doge when it's obviously supposed to be like Dogi. Right? Like that's what it's supposed to be, like doggy. But it became Doge. And the only Doge meme I've ever made due to that conversation was on like autopilot. I ended up putting the Doge head on Lupus from Jet Force Gemini. And it was like much guns, wow.
Yeah, I found the cover for Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
3.
But yeah, like that was the thing I did once. I can rest now that I found that. I mean, we don't have to keep talking about it anymore. Zelda, I don't know. That could easily go either way, depending on the execution. Like, I think it could end up being a total flop, even despite the name. Like, it could be Super Mario Brothers 3, which I gave context. Fischoso brought this up earlier. There's many reasons why Super Mario Brothers 3 was a flop. Not alone the context of what happened in the movie, like the execution of it. Part of it, too, was the limited screening of the movie. Some people had to travel 100 miles to go see it. And Mario just wasn't as big of a name back in 1993. Like, people knew who Mario was, but unless you played video games or knew somebody who did, there's a lot of people that don't know who these plumbers are, right? Like, gaming was still budding as being the largest entertainment industry. It was not it yet. So
So
like,
what was it that was a flop? The original Super
yeah,
Mario?
the '93 Mario movie,
Super Mario?
right? It had everything against it. I think it probably
Yeah.
would have at least cut even if it had the mass release. But like, could you imagine traveling 100 miles to go see a movie that you don't even know the context of?
Yeah, no. I think I saw it in the theater. Of course, I lived in a city.
Yeah,
Um,
and you knew who Mario
but it was just such a it's such a weird movie. It was just
It
like,
is.
what is this? It was like only a Mario movie in that they just had some references.
Yeah,
You know,
like the
it was
names
like,
of
oh,
things and like Mario,
Yeah.
Luigi, and stuff. But like, it was definitely one of those movies. It's trying to be Blade Runner, where the guy had a movie he wanted to make, and they just slapped all the Mario stuff in there.
Yeah. We're gonna stick a. Oh, look, there's a bomb. That's like the only. That's actually the only thing in the movie
That's
that was
like
like
accurate because it looks like a bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except it was this big.
My
It was
God,
literally
he's
this.
got a bomb.
Yeah. They're supposed to be, 3
Yeah.
feet tall.
The thwomps were technically in it. His boots were thwomps. Technically, that was the name of it. If you actually look up the prop name.
Okay.
Yeah. Big Bertha was in it. That was the spiky dress
Yeah, but-
lady was supposed to be the fish Big Bertha, and it's like,
Yeah.
what are you
it's like,
doing, movie?
why isn't she a fish? I don't get it.
Toad
What is up?
kind of
with
had
this movie?
something going on with his head, sort of, but he wasn't Toad.
Yeah.
They had Goombas and Koopalings, but they weren't.
I mean, the Goombas were not even. They were like dinosaurs. They were supposed.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be the mushrooms. They had freaking fungus everywhere.
They would what?
But the mushroom
Iggy and Lemmy
characters-
were in it, sort of, but they were his cousins, not whatever the Koopalings are supposed to be. Yeah, I don't know. I
It's weird.
unironically enjoy the movie, but
Mhm.
in no good faith can I say it's a good movie. It's just one that I enjoy. I love that movie, possibly for all the wrong reasons. But that's in my head, the Legend of Zelda movie could go that way. Like, it's totally possible.
Oh, I hope not. I mean, it seems like Nintendo is a bit more dialed in, where they're like,
Yeah.
no, this movie has to be something like the game. A little bit more. I mean, I'll tell you, if they make it a freaking, like, I'm going to channel my inner Fizchozo.
Yeah.
If they make it a fucking isekai, I'm going to
Oh
lose
my
my shit.
god. That
They
would
better
be
not make
awful.
Oh, yeah, Link is actually an Earthling, and he
You
gets
mean like the fucking
transported
Monster Hunter
to-
movie?
Yeah. Or some other character is actually the main character and gets transported to Hyrule or some bullshit. Like,
Yeah, like some guy named Neil.
yeah. Now, if they made a Legend of Neil movie, I would go for that. That would be amazing.
It would flop, which is why they're never going to make one. But
Oh,
I would even probably
yeah.
go see it. And I'm not even like a big fan of The Legend of Neil. But it would be like, okay, I gotta fucking see it. Let's go.
I think I own. Yeah, I actually own the physical DVDs,
That's funny.
the box set of The Legend of Neil. Of course, I also own the Guild.
Yeah. I used to have some stuff like that, but I don't think I remember. Like, I used to have, up to the point that they released the box set, but they came back and they made a couple more seasons. I used to have, like, the first 7 seasons of Red vs. Blue on DVD, like their original box set. And I used to have, like, Rooster Teeth's, like, shorts box set, too, from the same time period.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some Screw Attack stuff, too. But, like, it's cool. You know, you watch something on the internet, and you feel like it's legit once you finally get on DVD, even though it's almost the opposite now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I also have Aqua Teen Hunger Force on DVD. But yeah. Legend of Neil, so great.
Makes sense for
but
Mario,
it's so
but not for Link, because Mario is Italian. Mario's not actually Italian, though. He's from the
Yeah.
Mushroom Kingdom. Not in the movie that just happened, but in the actual game lore, he was always from the Mushroom Kingdom. or from the same planet anyway. Technically, it's whatever the Metro Kingdom is what they've used now, New Donk City. They had a different name for the exact same place back in the Game Boy Mario versus Donkey Kong game. But he grew up there. His parents in the end of Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2, lived in a mushroom house. So he was always from the world that the Mushroom Kingdom's in.
Even when he was in Donkey Kong?
Yeah, Donkey Kong always took place on that same world. They basically reconfirmed it, though it's been confirmed in the past, like going all the way back to the Game Boy. They reconfirmed it in Odyssey because the Metro Kingdom New Donk City is where Donkey Kong took place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Mario's
Pauline is the mayor.
never an isekai. I think mostly it was maybe the manuals that made people think that when they talk about, like, he ended up in the Mushroom Kingdom through the sewers. It's like, okay, well, due to the warp zones and everything on that planet is connected by the same sewer system. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just like we couldn't know that based on the information we're given back in the original Mario games.
Yeah. I mean, the Super Mario Super Show also contributed to the notion that he was from
it's
Earth.
not just them. There was a Japanese Mario movie where he got isekai'd into the, like a cartoon one, into it. So it's like, it's everybody. You could not know that based on the information they gave you in the manuals. So
Yeah.
next game,
Anyway,
we're moving on to it. Don't be bossy though, Fizchoso.
Yeah.
I'll go backwards to the last game if I really want to.
Yeah, let's talk about that some more.
Yeah.
But
we're
yeah,
actually going to probably end
albeit-
up skipping over this game too. Is Martha's Dead, which I've never even heard of.
Oh, I think I've heard that. I was going to just say, final thing about Zelda is either going to be terrible or great. I think.
Yeah.
I
don't think it'll
see
be
how
bad.
it's going to be mediocre. I think it'll be either great or I'm going to hate it. Martha, why is that familiar? Oh no, I'm thinking of What Became of Edith Finch.
Yeah. It's
I don't know
a
anything
creepy
about Martha
thriller
is Dead.
that took place in Italy in World War II, apparently.
Okay. That's good. It's 52% off on Steam.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like we're people who have to keep up with games, right? We have to even stuff we don't play, we talk about it for the show and stuff. We're kind of like entrenched in the gaming sphere. If I haven't heard of the game, I doubt random normies have.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So
I
you
feel
could
like
still sell
it
it
sounds
as
very
just a horror
familiar,
game.
but
It's possible, but
yeah.
I don't think you're going to sell it on the appeal of the game itself.
Yeah, I might have heard of it, but I might again be confusing it with Edith Finch. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Definitely haven't seen gameplay.
Metal Gear Solid. Again, another Kojima thing where he'll probably get to do things he wanted to do in the games that he was never allowed to in the movie. Might make a better
Yeah.
movie. I think they're great games, though. Like the actual original trilogy of Metal Gear Solid. Wasn't a huge fan of 4. I don't think it's a bad game. Didn't really like 5. A lot of people loved it. But the first 3, I love them. Even like the old like NES Metal Gear, I thought was some fun games. So I think that one, it'll probably do well enough alone, just from the name. And then it'll probably also be a good movie. Hopefully. Hopefully it's not Hitman.
Mm-hmm. Are they going to have Metal Gear in the game? I mean, in the movie?
Maybe. Maybe, I would assume. Like, you'd have to have, like, a mech or something in there, right? Or
Yeah. Has that been in any of the games except the first one?
Yeah, so, because they came up, there were other Metal Gears, right, that were made. So, yeah, they've been in them.
Okay.
A weapon to surpass Metal Gear.
Could be good.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they could make it kind of like a James Bond movie. Could be interesting.
Right now, so here's the questionable part. Oscar Isaac, who's a good actor, is attached to playing Solid Snake. And I just don't know if he's a good fit. Like, it might be fine. I don't know if he's a good fit. You want somebody, because Snake is based off of a movie character that already existed. He was inspired by Snake Plissken from Escape from New York. Even though he looks kind of different, but a lot of that was limitations of the modeling back in the day, and he evolved into a different character. He's kind of just supposed to look like Kurt Russell, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like, can't you just go find somebody who kind of looks like a young Kurt Russell? It doesn't have to be exact. There's plenty of actors out there that do. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's funny is the box art is clearly from Terminator, right?
Yeah.
It's Kyle Reese. I mean, it's just a total ripoff of Kyle Reese.
Yeah. There's like a mix of like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snake is literally just Kurt Russell. Like the story and everything. He literally just took Snake Plissken and made a new character out of Snake Plissken.
Mm-hmm.
See, Mortal Kombat 2. I mean, the first one did really well. So I don't.
Did it?
Yeah, I mean, it profited. It made back its budget, and I think even its the additional budget.
That
for
one
marketing.
with the new character.
Yeah, like it did well enough.
Whatever.
Everybody was talking about it at the time too. Like I knew a lot of people loved it.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it myself.
I liked it.
Yeah.
It would seem so unnecessary for them to add another character.
Exactly.
Like, why?
Especially when
Just make one of.
it wasn't Mortal Kombat 1.
Right.
It was basically Mortal Kombat 0. Like they basically made a prequel to the movie they actually wanted to make and put that out in theaters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I liked the fights and I liked the powers, and they weren't afraid to like totally kill characters.
Oh yeah.
Pretty brutally.
So 2 actually I think
overall
is gonna be a
good.
better movie because they actually get to do Mortal Kombat right this time.
Yeah, and Johnny Cage is presumably going to be in it.
Goodnight Spoon has a question. Was Kurt Russell the Thing in The Thing? Context, I watched a terrible video essay saying Kurt Russell is the Thing in The Thing, and their evidence was entirely fabricated by the essayist. I've watched a lot of people try to piece together who was a thing and when, and obviously the very end of it was left open to interpretation, whether the last two people, either of them was actually assimilated by that point.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think from watching it that Kurt Russell's character never got assimilated or infected. And handing the alcohol to his friend was supposed to be the test because of the whole alcohol thing. And I wish to believe that they were both fine. Because it could have been early enough in the infection that the alcohol wouldn't have taken effect on him. Right? Either way. But it kind of just cuts there.
Mm-hmm.
It could go either way. I like to think that they left it there to make you wonder, obviously. But they were both fine. But they were also probably still both going to die. They were just going to freeze to death before anybody showed up. Like, it is I think it's a bitter-sweet ending. Where they won, but they're still going to die. That's my interpretation of the end.
I thought that the other guy had an earring or something. Oh, maybe that was at the end. Maybe that was the remake. I was thinking the remake / prequel.
Yeah, which
There's something about an earring.
really bad.
Yeah.
Mostly because they showed too much of the thing. Like the fact that the puppetry, all the practical effects was mostly in the shadow. Sometimes you only got a silhouette, or maybe you only get like a single body part here and there. The mystery of this like Lovecraftian monster that you never get a full glimpse of what it could truly look like, and it's constantly changing. Like they didn't understand what they were doing in that prequel.
Yeah, they went for full like body horror. It's like they had the thing where he would like stuck to the guy's face, and then it had like the woman who turned into the giant thing. Yeah.
They're like, look at all the special effects we have now. Isn't it nice?
That's all it was. It wasn't enough mystery. Yeah.
Yep. We're not going to finish this list, but actually the next like 2 we can skip through really fast, so I think that's a good place to end. Pac-Man. I don't know why they're making a Pac-Man movie.
Animated or live action?
Live action, apparently.
What?
And it comes from the same producer as Sonic the Hedgehog. So I guess Pac-Man's going to possibly come into the real world. Sounds awful. If it was animated and it was like the old Pac-Man cartoon specials and stuff like that, and that would be fine,
Yeah.
but
Like, it's going to end up being like the Smurfs movies. Like,
Probably.
I hated those because it was just,
It wasn't even
yeah,
about the
Smurfs
Smurfs.
go to New York. Yeah. There's Neil Patrick Harris.
I like the
Smurfs.
opening bit of the Smurfs when they're actually in the Smurf village. If the whole movie was like that, I probably would have enjoyed it.
Yeah. Live action Pac-Man. How are they going to do that? That's so dumb.
I don't know.
Or if it's just like a total parody, stupid thing where they're like, it's a guy in a yellow
Who was
suit
it?
or
Was
something.
it Corridor Digital? Somebody made like a live action Pac-Man back in the day, and the dude was like in like a stunt person, like an Evil Knievel suit, but it was all yellow to look like Pac-Man. He was like ghost hunting.
Yeah.
I can't remember who did it.
I remember that.
Sounds like something that Corridor crew would do. Or College Humor would have partnered up with like Freddie Wong and Corridor or something to make it look right.
Maybe.
But somebody did like a parody live action Pac-Man. And to me, I wouldn't want a full movie like that, but that sounds like the idea these people would go with.
Yeah. That's crazy. They already did a Pac-Man live action. It was called Pixels. He was in
God,
that.
that was awful. We also have
Yeah.
the kind of buried, has been talked about in a while, sequel to Detective Pikachu. Which again, I don't want a direct sequel to Detective Pikachu. If it's a spiritual sequel where it's like it's in the Pokemon world and it's just another story, I'm fine with that. But like they wrapped up Detective Pikachu. I don't need another Detective Pikachu.
Mm-hmm. How was Pixels awful? That's a good question. Why did you think Pixels was awful? I thought
Why did I think Pixels was awful?
kind of funny.
Well, there's a couple good jokes. I think the humor fell flat a lot. I think it was not very sincere. I think that was why it was awful to me, right? It felt like a lot of guys who kind of sort of liked these old retro games back in the day, but they really weren't people who liked video games, so it didn't feel like sincere humor. It felt like a parody, and not like a parody of a parody, more is what I'm getting at. Especially because the plot of Pixels was basically ripped right out of a bit of an episode of Futurama. Not even the full episode. It was like one of the what if episodes, because Farnsworth had made the like device, and Fry was like, what if video games were real? And they were being invaded by aliens from another planet that I think the planet was Nintendo 64. And there's like,
They were
a
Space
bunch of the
Invaders,
same
right?
stuff. Yeah, Fry even played Space Invaders with the tank and everything because he played the game all the time as a kid. And this basically Pixels is the plot of that 5-minute bit. Actually, I don't even know if it was a full 5 minutes, but that bit in Futurama, and they turned it into a whole movie, and it feels like a parody of a parody.
Yeah. I did like the guy. Oh, it was, I forget what the actor's name, who played sort of the who is it? The sort of the con man. The shoot, why am I drawing a blank? Anyway,
Yeah.
there were parts of it that I liked. Yeah, Peter Dinklage, who basically played the character from the real life King of Kong guy.
Yeah. And they had a guy pretend to be the creator of Pac-Man, and he got his hand. Like, the funniest parts of the movie were in the trailer, which is also another bad sign of a movie, is when all the funniest parts are in the trailer. Yeah. Good Night Spoon says, Pixels represents everything I hate about modern films. Message boards were on the rise. Studios tried getting ahead of criticism by putting audience surrogates inside the story to argue with, rather than making improvements to the script. Yeah, I mean, to me, and I've seen some pretty bad Adam Sandler movies, it's probably the worst Adam Sandler. I would actually put it below Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty
All
much
right,
it. Like,
well,
I don't know. Are any of these things worth talking about? I could just jump through the list real quick. I'll just name them out. And then if anything sticks out after that, we could spend a minute or two talking about, and then we can close out, right? Because we're at 23. We'll just go through. We've Poppy Playtime, Portal, Rabbids, Return to Silent Hill, Saints Row.
Portal.
Yeah, Portal's on there.
Portal could be great.
It
Could be
could.
a great movie potentially.
In fact, I'd rather have the Maze Runner guy on Portal than The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. Okay.
Sifu actually could also be a good one. Slime Rancher. Space Channel 5, I forgot about that one. As long as they make it camp. And it's just literally, I would love it. I don't know what they would do without Space Michael unless they actually have the rights and somebody comes in and pretends to be Michael Jackson. That would be great too. But Space Channel 5 is one that I'm looking forward to. It's probably going to get canceled. Space Invaders. So basically, maybe a better version of Pixels. Stray. That was one that was confirmed. Street Fighter.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this just going to be a cat?
I guess. But yeah, Street Fighter, probably because of how popular Mortal Kombat was, and like, hey, we could do it better. It's been a long time. The old Street Fighter movies, I think, were even made in competition to the Mortal Kombat movies at the time. So like, it's coming back again. It's like, you made a movie, we have to now too. Streets of Rage, which
for everyone else,
better.
There was a Tuesday.
Yeah, for everyone else. No, for you, it
or
was
no,
the
for me, it was,
most important day of your life.
Was,
for me, it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But Streets of Rage, I think that one could be fun. A beat 'em up movie in the streets. It's just an action movie. It's just a fighting action movie with explosions and shit.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah. How can you fuck up that? Talking Tom. Like the app, the cat app thing.
Cat?
Yeah, apparently
God.
that is. That's going to be an emoji movie.
Seriously? Oh,
that's 36, 37. You guys said 35 movies. You added 2 to the list, you pieces of shit. And Watch Dogs. Which after 10 years, Watch Dogs was just announced. Or re-announced. Because they announced it 10 years ago. That the movie is actually happening for real this time.
Yeah.
Which is another one I probably would enjoy more as a movie than a game. I didn't enjoy playing Watch Dogs.
Portal could be like, they could make it like they did Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Like where, they could do like a prequel kind of a thing.
How she gets in.
Where it make it R-rated, where people are just getting slaughtered. And then, have Chell wake up with amnesia. And that could be really good. Of course, if they don't make it R, I don't know. That
And I
would be
mean,
a great
you
R-rated
could
movie.
use anyone for the GLaDOS. It doesn't matter. But it would be really cool if they actually just pulled in the voice of GLaDOS.
Yeah, why not? I think it was a different voice, though, in Portal 2 than it was in Portal 1.
Was it?
I like the Portal.
I don't care. I like the Portal 2 one's the one I remember for the most part.
Maybe they just, because, obviously they kind of altered it. Maybe they just altered it differently.
Yeah, because I thought it was the same person both times.
Maybe it was. It sounded slightly different. Might have been the same. Yeah, I don't know why not.
With,
why don't
Wheatley
they just
as
use?
Well.
Yeah. I love that guy. The actual actor is kind of funny looking.
Oh my god. The best part of a Portal movie, because they already have an A-list actor playing him, you could actually bring in J.K. Simmons as Cave Johnson. You don't even have to cast a new person for him.
Yeah. I mean, geez, totally use the same voice actors.
Yeah. I mean, they modeled the
cool.
image, like the illustration of him that they put his voice over was just a picture of J.K. Simmons as well. So you don't have like any excuse.
Yeah.
You can have the actual guy come in. Oh, that would be great.
Yes, I have played Portal Reloaded, by the way. Yes, I have that.
Oh yeah.
It's been a while.
Discuss that. I guess the last thing before we tune out, because it's just we're over, but it's time to tune out. This is in the same topic. As an announcement, Crunchyroll announced it. So, Witch Hat Outlier is having a anime series adaptation releasing next year.
What's it called?
Witch Hat Outlier, based off the game.
Oh. Is that how you pronounce it?
I have no clue if it's Adalier or Adalier. I've actually literally never heard somebody say that word out loud.
I thought it was Atelier.
Is it Atelier? Is it a French word?
But-
I would believe it. Like I said, I've never heard it said out loud.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
Let me look. How to pronounce?
maybe it's
Yeah, it is Atelier.
it's
You're correct.
Atelier.
It's a French term.
Yeah.
It's Atelier.
yeah. That's how I always pronounce it.
All right. Atelier. I will have that noted now. Because, like, I think, not that I haven't ever heard it, the only people I've heard it say aloud are other people who have, like, reviewed the game's name. And all of them have said it in, like, 5 or 6 different ways. I'm like, how are you supposed to say this?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was originally an anime, or no, was it? No, it was adapted to an anime. Wait,
It's
was it a video
currently
game or
being
it was a
adapted to
manga?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a manga
Is
series
it a manga that turned into
that
a video
became
game?
a video game that is now getting adaptation of the manga itself.
Okay. So it's not exactly a video game.
No, it's this very weird
Adaptation.
track. But
Yeah.
yeah. I figured it was kind of close to the topic, so I'd throw it in real quick. Atelier.
That's cool. Oh, bye, Fish Chosen.
Oh, well, I mean, we're ending
Have you
anyway,
played-
so.
Portkey or portcullis? I don't know what those are.
No, I've not. But thank you guys for showing up. If you enjoy the show, please, for the love of God, share it out with other people. Get more people in here to watch it. And if you really enjoy the show, you want to go one step beyond, you can give a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitoriumlive. Really helps me out. And we'll see you guys on Thursday.